Episode 2, Life Inside the Computer Department. Series, Life Around the Sugar Factory. The cold never left her. Even 30 years later, Grace Achieng finds herself reaching for a sweater on a warm Kenyan afternoon, a phantom chill creeping up her spine. It's a memory embedded in her very bones, the memory of a room filled with machines, humming endlessly with a low, resonant thrum that vibrated through the floor. A cold so profound it seemed to seep from the very air itself, colder and more penetrating than the night outside. This was the computer department of Mwamba Sugar Company in 1995. And in an era before the internet became a household utility, this chilled, sterile room was the undisputed heart of the sprawling, chaotic, and vibrant life of the entire factory. To enter the computer department was to step into another world. The journey itself was a stark transition. First, you navigated the raw, visceral reality of the factory floor. The air thick with the sweet, cloying smell of sugarcane being crushed, mingled with the acrid tang of diesel fumes from the tractors and the fine, gritty dust that coated every surface. The noise was a constant assault. The roar of the boilers, the metallic clang of the processing lines, the shouts of workers straining to be heard over the din. But then, you would reach a heavy, soundproofed door. Pulling it open was like crossing a threshold. The factory's cacophony instantly faded to a dull, distant rumble, replaced by the clean, consistent hum of electronics. The smells of industry vanished, supplanted by the sterile scent of metal, plastic insulation, and chilled, recycled air. This was the sanctuary of the computer department, a sanctuary that was as unforgiving as it was precise. Large, uninterrupted power supply units, UPS systems, stood like silent, monolithic guards along one wall, their indicator lights glowing a steady, unblinking green and their cooling fans humming with a tireless, gentle whisper. Beside them, the main CPU cabinet stood tall and imposing, a heavy, gray metal behemoth that was utterly untouchable, its inner workings a mystery to all but one man. The temperature was kept deliberately low, a constant 18 degrees Celsius, to protect the sensitive components from the pervasive heat and humidity of the region. Grace worked 8-hour shifts inside that cold space, her fingers often stiff on the keyboard. Even then, she almost always wore a thick, woolen sweater. Her body, it seemed, never forgot the ambient chill, a physical adaptation that has lasted a lifetime. Mwamba Sugar Company ran on a mainframe computer system, a technological dinosaur even by 1995 standards. This was long before the ethereal concepts of cloud storage, the convenience of flash drives, or the instant gratification of real-time dashboards. Data moved slowly, methodically, but with absolute precision. Information didn't fly, it walked carefully escorted from one point to another. The terminals on Grace's desk displayed text in stark, glowing green or soothing amber against a black screen. There were no mice, no graphical interfaces. Commands were typed line by line with painstaking care. A single misplaced character could cascade into an error that might affect hundreds of workers, delaying their pay or corrupting critical inventory records. The language of this world was a mix of arcane computer terms woven naturally into daily conversation: mainframe system, terminals, batch processing, data input validation, system logs. Grace Achieng's primary responsibility, the one that kept her awake at night, was data backup. Every shift, she performed a ritual that was both mundane and monumental. She handled the magnetic tape drive, a device as large as a suitcase that whirred and clunked as it processed large, heavy reels of magnetic tape. These reels were the factory's lifeblood, holding its collective memory. On them were the records of every single farmer who supplied cane, the payments for every harvester crew, the payroll for thousands of employees, and the records of countless small loans and advances. Each tape was a physical object, a tangible weight of responsibility. Grace would carefully remove a full reel, its circular surface gleaming under the fluorescent lights, and label it by hand using a black permanent marker. The date, the shift time, the system modules it contained, each entry had to be perfect. A smudge or a misspelling could render the entire backup useless in a crisis. The tapes were then stored in large, fireproof metal cupboards, neatly arranged in chronological order, meticulously logged in a binder, and locked away tight. If the system crashed, if data was corrupted, those tapes were the only way back. They were the factory's anchor in a sea of digital information. The department operated with a strict, almost military-like structure. Above Grace was the computer supervisor, a stern man named Mr. Odiambo, who oversaw the shifts and ensured operational protocols were followed to the letter. Above him was the computer manager, responsible for the overall system integrity and for reporting directly to the factory's directors. And at the apex of this technological pyramid was the computer programmer. The programmer, a quiet, intense man named Mwamba, was the architect of this entire digital world. He had designed the system from scratch, custom building every line of code to fit the unique needs of Mwamba Sugar Company. His system was the engine that generated everything. The farmer statements sent out at the end of the season, the records for the seasonal weeders, the payment slips for the harvester crews, the complex monthly pay slips for every employee, and the intricate processing of advances and loans. Everything depended on that system working correctly, and David was its high priest. The system was unforgiving, but fair. It operated on a logic that could not be argued with. Weighbridge data recording the exact weight of cane delivered was entered first. Harvester tickets detailing which crew cut the cane followed. If the figures did not balance perfectly, if the tonnage on the harvester's ticket didn't match the weighbridge record, the system rejected the entry. There was no shortcut, no override, no payment until the discrepancy was resolved in the real world. This rigid structure protected the harvesters from being shortchanged and protected the factory from costly errors. It protected the integrity of the work itself. Night shifts were the hardest. Outside, the factory never slept. Machines roared and massive trucks moved cane through the darkness in a constant balletic flow. Inside, the computer room remained cold, quiet, and precise. It was just Grace, the humming machines, and the weight of responsibility. She would monitor system logs for any anomalies, check that backup schedules had run successfully, and wait for long, complex batch jobs to complete, their progress ticking by slowly on the amber screen, sometimes stretching past midnight into the early hours of the morning. Years later, technology would change beyond recognition. Systems would shrink from room-sized cabinets to slivers of silicon in our pockets. Data would move at the speed of light, invisible and omnipresent. But the cold of that computer room never left Grace Achieng. It lives in her memory, a permanent part of her physical history. It's there in every sweater she still wears, long after the humming machines have been replaced and the magnetic tapes have turned to dust. The cold is a reminder of a time when data was heavy, when responsibility was tangible, and when one person, in a quiet, chilled room, held the livelihoods of thousands in her careful, steady hands. Thank you for being part of life around the sugar factory. This series is more than just stories. It is a tribute to women like Grace Achieng, whose strength carried her through the weight of motherhood, the sting of judgment, and the silence that often surrounded her. While industries pressed forward, she and countless others labored quietly, holding families and communities together in ways that history rarely records. By watching, you help honor their resilience and remind the world that behind every machine, every field, and every factory, there are human lives, especially women, whose courage deserves to be seen and remembered. Subscribe to continue walking with us on this journey as we uncover more voices, more truths, and more stories that shape the fabric of our communities.
Weighbridge ticket first in line, harvest a ticket next to shine. If they don't match the payment stall, fortnight comes, but truth is called. Hard work is honest, the earth provides, but simple numbers where honesty hides. Awaiting fairness, a simple plea for